Today, I'm going to tell you the best 10 watches under £100. Let's get into it! Yes, and welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. Today is a mammoth of an episode. I'm going to give you my favourite 10 watches under £100 that have extreme value, and if you were to buy these watches, you'd be wondering why you hadn't bought one already. We've got quartz, digital, mechanical. There is literally something for everyone on this list. And I haven't just gone generic either. You know, your typical ones like your F91W, your Casio Royale. I didn't even mention the GBD 200, which I absolutely love, by the way. Now, this 10 is not in any order, but you're gonna wanna watch the last two, believe me. So sit back, relax, and let me take you on a magical journey through watches under £100. Are you value for money ready? Let's go. Okay, the first one is an absolute stonker I reviewed last year. Yes, a Seiko 5 that is now discontinued. You can still buy brand new at the likes of Joma Shop for around and just under £100. Don't forget the import tax. But the one I really love is the SNX S79K1. Beautiful charcoal sunburst dial. This thing is a budget Rolex day date, there's no doubt about it. It's 37mm, using the automatic 7S26 non-hacking, non-hand winding movement. Yes, it has only 19mm lugs. It's only 30mm water resistant, and it has a Hardlex crystal. But this is an awesome watch that looks twice, at least twice, more than what you're gonna pay for it, and it has a very reliable Seiko mechanical movement inside. What a start! The hits keep coming. This time we've got a Timex. For the last 3, 4, 5 years, the brand has realised that their best watches may have been quite a while ago. The TWW2 81200 is based on a watch that was first released in 1979. It has a very cool vintage look to it. It's Rolex Pepsi, but it's not a Rolex. I really like this off-white dial. We've got the day date. We've got a bi-directional bezel. I really like the old-fashioned way you can take out the battery using a penny. 38mm in diameter, 12 thick, 45 lug to lug, a domed acrylic crystal. What a watch this is to have in your watch arsenal. Now in 2024, it's about time we looked at Swatch. And I don't mean those overpriced, overhyped moon swatches. The Swatch group was invented during the quartz crisis by the Swiss watch elites. We still want you to buy our mechanical watches, but you can also have a second watch that is quartz. Now the Swatch watches I remember as a kid looked like this. And you can buy this one. They're those skeletonized jelly see-through ones. This look is so iconic to Swatch to me. I think it is really cool, and it really does do a good job of embodying what Swatch is all about. Fun, affordable, and reliable. But for £72, this is the Swatch I'd buy. How can I not talk about this watch in a top 10 watches under £100? From my experience, this watch punches double, triple above its weight. It looks more expensive. It feels more expensive. There are watches I've reviewed well over the price of this, but are just not as good. And I, ladies and gentlemen, are talking about the Duro. Yes, the Casio Marlin. Not the new one that came out that was 13.8mm or 37. They absolutely ruined it. But this one, the 44mm, quite big, chunky, but it's a 200-meter diver, stainless steel case. It's gorgeous. The bezel is fantastic on it. And for still around the £50 mark, it's very hard to look anywhere else, you know. Screw down case back, screw down crown. But if anyone asks you how much you paid for this watch and you said it was £200, you would not get a turned up eyebrow anywhere. Yes, it's big. It's too big for me, but it probably won't be too big for a lot of you. Now, you guys know when it comes to digital watches, I'm a Casio guy, yeah? But this year I'm going to take it upon myself to search for new life forms and civilizations outside of Casio. And one brand I want to look more into is ARMITRON. First released their LED watches in 1975, this brand started off in America, and you know what? They're still in America. Now here is the ARMITRON Sports Retro watch.
Right up my alley.
This does have a look of, say, an A168 or an A158 of Casio's, but it is based on one of their watches from the 80s. And guess what? It's stainless steel. For £32, you can have a stainless steel digital watch. Something you can't get with Casio unless you're spending 60, 70, 80, 90 pounds. I love the symmetry of the 4 buttons on this case. Also, I love the colouring.
Proper 80s.
I promise I will be getting this watch very soon. I suggest you do too.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
Now, for under £100, you can get a watch with a Seiko movement inside that has hacking and hand winding. The trouble is, the brand won't necessarily be a Seiko. Anyway, 3 to 4 years ago, Invicta, who are known for their, let's just say, close to the bone copying of Rolex, they brought out the 1953, and you have to say this is a very attractive retro looking diver. The name 1953 signifies that this watch has been inspired by the Rolex Submariner 6204, the first one that ever came out. It also looks a little bit Tudor Black Bay 5080. Now 4 years on from the release, the prices of these watches are very low and very tidy. We've got a stainless steel case, 200 meters of water resistance, and an automatic Seiko movement inside. And one big bonus, there's no engraving of Invicta on the side of the case.
Oh, thank God.
Anyway, out of all Invictas that I see, this is probably my favourite looking. It's not directly copying a watch that is currently out. Gets a semi-pass. I like the gilt dial. And it's just very simple, but simple done right. And for anyone that is starting to get into the watch collecting hobby, buying one of these first is not the worst idea you're ever going to have. I think it's a win. Super. This is another, how can I do a top 10 watches under £100 without talking about this one? You guys know that I love my G-Shocks, especially the first one that came out in 1983. So let me reiterate that this one is one you have to buy. The GWM 5610U. The G-Shock that looks the most like the original from 83. 200 meters water resistance, shock proof. It's solar powered, so you'll never really ever have to change the battery. It also has multi-band 6, meaning it will give you accurate time every single day of the week, and it's just an absolutely cool watch. If you're ever in the market for a G-Shock, this is the first one you buy. And if you haven't bought this one yet, where have you been? Recently I reviewed a new Seiko GMT on the Seiko 5 range, and it's a stunning little field watch with that stainless steel 24-hour bezel. It has Explorer 2 vibes, but it also looks like a darn good Seiko. Now you may be thinking to yourself, I can't afford £400. Well, let me show you the RL481AX9 from LORUS. Yes, I wonder if you knew that LORUS was actually owned by Seiko, the Seiko Epson Group. Now this is a very cool watch not many people know about. They don't do the digging I do. Now for £69, you get a 100 meter water resistant watch with an automatic movement. And that movement is the Y676, which is based on, pretty much is, the 7S26 by Seiko. Yes, so a Seiko movement is in this LORUS. You've got all the good stuff like the dial shock, the magic lever system. For all intents and purposes, it is a Seiko inside this LORUS. There is no hacking, there is no hand winding, but it is very attractive and reminds me of my SBGN003, the Grand Seiko I owned. You got the day-date, dolphin style hands. That is a good looking watch. For £69, buy it. We're getting towards the end. We've got 2 left for you. And does anybody know the brand BERTUCCI? You're gonna now. First came out in 2004 with a patented case.
Yes, watch brands out there, you can patent cases.
Their first watch, the A-2T, was made using titanium. And back then, not many companies were using titanium for watches. Now you can still buy that original watch. It's around £147 on Amazon. But since that release, case. Bertucci have literally hundreds of different variations using different materials for their cases. And the one I want to show you was released in 2013, the A-15. This is not titanium, it's stainless steel, proper field watch, really like it. The size of these watches are 36 millimeters, screw down crown, 100 meters of water resistance. It's a hardened mineral crystal, but for just under £100 to get a patented, iconic looking watch, well, it's something I'm going to be doing very soon. We come to the last choice, and it's a little bit cheating because it's a little bit over £100. But let's say you've got £100, right? Well, if you put that £100 in your pocket and don't buy a takeaway coffee every day of the week, you will be able to afford a watch that I still absolutely love. And it's from a company called Orient, are sort of the sister company, not owned by Seiko. The Edison Group owns Seiko and own Orient. Orient are a separate company to Seiko, but they're sort of under the same umbrella. But I give you the Orient Ray 2. If you are looking for a Rolex Submariner affordable alternative that is not a clone of it and has its own personality and its own looks, this watch is so good. With a screw down crown and a screw down case back, this watch is 200 meters of water resistance, a great unidirectional 120 click bezel, the finishing of the case is great, the dial is really good, and it's always nice to own a watch with a brand logo that looks a little bit like a cigarette logo.
You feel me?
There's enough polishing and brushing on this case to make it a proper Gada watch. Go anywhere, do anything. Honestly, if you are starting your watch journey now, this is another must to buy. And let me tell you, if you can get this watch for around 120, 130 pounds, you and others will think that you've spent over 250 pounds. Still an absolute gem in a huge flooded market of affordable watches. Get it? So there we go, 10 amazing watches under or around the £100 mark. I'd love to know in the comments below what your favourite watch under £100 is. If I was to pick my favourite 3 out of the 10 as a 3 watch collection, well, it would be the Seiko 5-day date, the G-Shock Square and the Orient Ray 2. And what a collection. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you want a bit more of the Mad Watch Collector channel, click there. Join. Want some merch? Get down there in the description a little bit lower. But if I've got you for a few more minutes, why don't you click this one? This is, well, it is. It really is. Go and have a look at it. One of my favourite ones, this one. Go on, click it. Click it!